Yeah, the 2023 presidential race has become the talk of the town. And as it is, I would say the opinion of Nigerians on finished Igbo business. The 2023 political electoral season has opened, and the search for the next president is on. While some Nigerians want the next president to come from the regional or ethnic section, others are calling for the prioritization of a merit without defining what it means in the context of Nigeria's politics. Yes, as we debate, may I simply remind Nigerians that there is a very important unfinished Igbo business. 52 years after the end of the Nigerian Civil War, Nigeria has not made up its mind exactly what to do with the Igbo nation. The entire country, with the help of our British colonial master and our allies and even foes, came together to stop Biafra's secession attempt. After every conflict, efforts must be made to ensure that the war ends both on the battlefield and in the minds of the protagonists. Yes, the former enemies must agree to become friends and brothers again for progress to become possible. The Bible says that two cannot work together unless they agree. Okay. The theater of a war must be rehabilitated after World War II. The victorious Allied powers created a Marshall Plan to rebuild devastated Germany and Japan after committing them to henceforth pursue only economic rather than a militaristic paths to their futures. Something similar happened even here in Africa after the genocide of 1994 in Rwanda, which claimed over 800,000 lives. The Hutus and Tutsis decided to forgive each other, and they resumed on a clean slate. It worked in Europe also, Japan and Rwanda and every other part of the country. It always worked. It even worked in the United States for them of three countries to come together as one, and that's why they're called a United Nation. Have you ever pondered why Nigeria started sliding downhill shortly after the war? The answer is simple. The no victor, no vanquished declaration was a fraud meant to get the Biafrans to drop their arms. The reconciliation, reconstruction, and the rehabilitation policy was a mere 419. Okay, the war continued in the minds of the Ox, especially the federal military. They took it to the political, economic, and social arenas against the Igbo. If not for that mind war, the late former Vice President Dr. Alex Ekweme would have emerged as President of Nigeria in 1987 or 1999. But each time the military thwarted him because he was Igbo. On the other hand, the North voluntarily forwent the ambitions of their sons in 1999 and brought out General Olusegun Obasanjo, whom they had jailed for the coup. They rallied the rest of the country to make him president to assuage the Yoruba nation of their oath over the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election and the murder of its winner, Chief Moshood Abiola, in detention. Okay, also they found it convenient to appease their war allies, which is the Yoruba, rather than their enemies, Igbo. Since 1999, the North has been president twice, 9 years so far, Southwest 8 years, and South-South 5.5 years. All of them want to have another go, while the Igbo keeps being thwarted and blamed thereafter. Since the end of the war and with the unfinished Igbo business, progress has eluded Nigeria. Poverty and insecurity bestride and otherwise a blessed and mighty country like a colossus, and also our educational system or health and infrastructure have gone to the dogs. The North, which led the war against Igbo and guzzles the lion's share of resources, is in abject poverty and under attack by its own sons. They are drifting to the south for greener pastures. Even their people who occupy every visible post in the Muhammadu Buhari regime cannot even protect them. Yet, the economic circumstances of the Igbo are among the best. There is a karmic effect at work. Nigeria must sit down with the Igbo end the mind wars and forgive one another. They must agree and decide on a new direction. As a confidence building measure, a competent and patriotic Igbo must be given the mantle of leadership and full support, just as Obasanjo got. The second option should be to loosen the Nigerian Federation and allow each part 75% autonomy to decide its future. If both options fail, the Igbo must be allowed to peacefully leave the federation. Yes, that is what it is. That is in its future if both options failed, and which the first option, they must agree and decide on a new direction. As a confidence and building measure, a competent and patriotic Igbo must be given the mantle of leadership and full support, just as Obasanjo got. Then the second option should be to loosen the Nigerian Federation and also allow each part like 75% autonomy to decide its future. If both options failed, the Igbo must be allowed to peacefully leave the federation. When you put something in your mouth, it is either you swallow it or spit it out. If it stays in your mouth, it will choke you to death and it may not allow you to speak up properly. The best thing, either swallow or pour out. As it is, Nigeria's unfinished Igbo business must be addressed now. Rebuilding a war zone, and Imo State is a war zone also. The 8 years of Rochas Okorocha as governor was a war. He built so many things that needed to be either demolished, fortified, abandoned because they simply made no sense, or recovered for the Imo people. The second war is still ongoing. Imo was one of the states where the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, set up a camps for its Eastern Security Network, ESN, also to fight herdsmen invaders and also criminal invaders. But some disgruntled politicians hired mercenaries from the north, broke the Owerri prisons, and commenced a systematic reign of terror, which Muhammadu Buhari's government passed off to the IPOB. Imo is the only state in Igbo land where the Nigerian Air Force had dropped ordnance since the Nigerian Civil War. Yeah, if you are following the antecedent of this Imo state or the Biafra and the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, you will know that this is more or less like a reprisal of what happened in 1967, between 1967 and 1970. The mental image created of the state is that of its governor, Senator Opus Odima, being a gift from the Supreme Court, sit-at-homes, unknown government, and systematic killings of Igbo youth suspected to be IPOB sympathizers. It has been said that they were mercenaries rented to come and disrupt the peaceful agitations of the Biafra. Beneath all this, however, life still goes on. In the past 2 years, since Uzodinma took charge, he has tackled Okorocha's mess as restoring some order. And there is too much political noise, especially in social media. Well, I would say if the Igbos really need the presidency, let them come together, let them dialogue, and let them form a formidable force, like some part of the North will do. But as it is, Northerners do not even have that prowess again, do not have a formidable force. It seems they also are marginalized. You're listening to Independent TV 7. Thanks for listening, and share your comment in the comment section. Thanks, and God bless.